Energy Week. Compared to the last year previous Energy Week, and of course compared to this particular Energy Week, what do you see as a difference between the comparison between last year and of course this particular edition of the Energy Week?
All right, thank you very much. Sincerely, perhaps I may not want to go through the route of comparing what we had last year and what we have this year. And the reason is simple. It is expected that what you do a year earlier, the one that you'll be doing next should be better in terms of packaging, in terms of programming, in terms of various ideas that you bring into the new one. And I must tell you that the theme for this year is so apt at this particular point in time that we are having very high cost of food items. We've been having issues with whether the federal government should open border to allow importation of food items and all of those stuff. But there are so many things that people don't know about the potentials that we have in agriculture, and that's where the journalists bringing that to the fore, it becomes very important. It's important because there are so many farmers that yes, they still do their farming, but there are other things they could do to enhance, productivity, to improve the economic income from what they do. Because a typical farmer, if you ask him, okay, we planted 10 acres of cassava, and at the end of the day, harvest time and all of that, ask him how much he has spent in getting this product to the market. He might not be able to tell you, because they don't normally put it down that, okay, plowing the land is 10,000, the actual planting is 5,000, moving it from this place to this place is, for them to know whether they make profit or not. That's the reason why NUJ chose to actually beam our light on that aspect, so that we see that as an opportunity to really enlighten more farmers on what to do. The stakeholders were also involved in this and all of that. Then the other thing that we'll also talk about this year's week is the health aspect of it that was given a whole lot of attention. Don't forget that even yesterday there were other health examinations that members of staff from Federal Medical Center also engaged in, where journalists and non-journalists were going through some examination, blood sugar, BP, and all of that. There's one thing we must know about journalists. Most time, we create time to pay attention to other people's activities, leaving attention to ourselves as journalists to be secondary. So Press Week provides an opportunity for us to come together, relax, discuss issues, at least look at issues relating to our health, also look at opportunity of enhancing our professional delivery or deliverables, all right? Because throughout the year, you'll be surprised that we have so many of our colleagues, either in the broadcast, TV or radio and all of that, that may not even have a whole 1 week to even attend to family matters and all of that. Because we are always busy.
Yeah, it's just like one of them said that no matter what is going on in a particular country, even there is war, there is anything, journalists...
You're scared. Journalists, or it's the journalists that will bring what is happening at the war front. And that's why at times some of us do pay the ultimate price. Because when you cover a war-torn environment, you never can tell. Stray bullets, we can also have a situation where maybe bombs are dropped somewhere and all of that, things like that. We just discovered that journalists are part of the victims of such. We only pray that journalists, how do I put it now? Journalists gain actually on that and not in help. Because
I understand. Because at least they should actually reap their fruits right here.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, because it's a thankless job. At the end of the day, too, you see people telling you that journalists are the ones destroying this, they are the ones destroying that. Why should we go and bring them out? Why should we do this? Why should we do that? But we have to do it. This is our duty. It is what we signed for. So whether it is bad or good, we bring it to the knowledge of the people. And I must tell you, it is those ones that are even bad that are good news.
All right. Of course, thank you so much for elaborating more about the agriculture and, of course, some of this particular week that we had. And talking about some of the, like I said earlier on, a lot of people, of course, are just discovering the NUJ. You'll be surprised. People are saying that this is the first time, of course, witnessing this week. I mean, the residents, those who are moving about. Now, what does this NUJ? We understand that some of these weeks, of course, is to prepare journalists' minds, to have fun, to know each other more. But what has this week talking about, especially the team? What has it, done? Of course, what is the advantage of it to the people?
All right, thank you very much. Like the day that we had on the first day, which was Monday, we had a keynote speaker who spoke on the theme itself. Then we now had 3 stakeholders: the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture. We also had one-time Commissioner for Agriculture, who is also the National President of Cassava Processors Association of Nigeria. I've forgotten his name now, engineer. I forgot. Then we also had one gentleman who is from the private sector, private sector. His company was involved in the production of this massive rice that was done in conjunction with the state government. I don't know the link, but I recall that it was the governor that unveiled those rice around Mowe Bafo. And what that discussion had actually brought from these 2 different professionals in agriculture was that they were able to share opinions. Okay, the one that is processing cassava was telling us about what you can do in order for you to have quality products from cassava. That if you have to do this, you have timeline. The processor must be very close to where your farm is. The Vice Chancellor was telling us about in their university, they say have several thousands of acres of land that you can come around, we'll give it to you, prepare it and all of that. The issue of the economics of agriculture also came in, that for you to prepare a farmland, it costs a whole lot of money. So many people get to know, because the reportage from that discussion actually went viral. It was in various national dailies, online and all of that. So I'm very sure that many farmers will have learned from the discussion. All right. The gentleman who was talking from the private sector involvement in agriculture also expressed their concerns in terms of what governments can do to support the private sector in terms of infrastructure. Because if you have a very large farm somewhere and you are having a very massive product coming from that place, but for you to take it out to the market and all of that becomes a problem, you will discover that the cost will eventually still go up rather than coming down because of cost of bringing it to the market and all of that. So these were part of the things that were discussed, and many people, even some of our colleagues that day, also said, I think it is better for us to also look in that direction, because once you invest in it, and you create time to supervise what you have there and all of that, that certainly add to food value chain, because apart from economic gain to you, you are also using that to also reduce the cost of food in the market, because when we have so much, definitely when the supply is higher than the demand, the likelihood of the cost actually going down is quite high. You know, these are some of the things that I would say that the theme for this year's press week has actually brought.
All right, thank you so much for the explanation. Of course, before we move on, let us go for this short commercial break. We'll be back. Lagos, and on the program, a journalist explained these. Of course, in the studio, we have Kayode Taiwo, and we're talking about the NUJ week. All right, there. But before we go, I have two questions to ask, and this is a very good platform for you to, of course, talk to the government, talk to the people. Now, is there anything you, of course, would I say, is there kind of support that you actually, as the NUJ, and of course part of the committee, any support you need for the government, especially even during this big period of time whereby we had the NUJ week, and of course, and other things? What are the certain supports you need from the government?
Wow. Well, that may be an Herculean task for me, because journalists, by the job we do, we are more like public police. We keep the government constantly on their toes because we report what they do. And if we now say we want to directly request for something, then any day that they cross the line, we might not be morally, but be that as it may, I would say, for instance, now, what the general request that I will ask from government is that just like they are trying to help the farmers, government should also help the journalists, particularly those who are going to private production, those who are trying to establish television stations, just like this fast-growing one that we are now. In terms of equipment, perhaps because most of the things we use for TV production are not made in Nigeria, it has to be imported. And if tariffs on all these things can be removed, we can get quality equipment in. Nigerians have a lot of gifted journalists, either in the print, the broadcast and all of that, but we don't have the kind of equipment that we see from our foreign colleagues. Okay, you can imagine you're watching a football match on the field, and you now see someone carrying a camera that has everything, goes straight to satellite. It doesn't have any cable and everything is with him there. You know, as it's beaming, the visual, the audio, everything. Even at times, if you watch some of these foreign leagues and all of that, if they want to pick a particular person amongst that crowd that have done something, you'll be surprised. They will pick that person. Exactly. They can even pick the voice out of all it is equipment. Nigerian journalists can do it, but we need to also have that support from government, at least to assist us in that direction.
Okay, quickly, in just 30 seconds, what is your recommendation about NST?
Yes, I will first say, let me first congratulate the management of NSTV for coming up with this. I know it's still a growing TV station. You will still get there, I know that one. But for even daring to go, yes, television production is not it's not an easy task. It demands heavy financial involvement and all of that. So I congratulate NSTV management for coming up with this, and I also wish and pray that they get bigger and better, so that they will be able to serve. You know, one particular thing about this NSTV is that it is being put together by a trained journalist. Most of our privately owned television radio stations are actually financed by non-journalists. They will now employ some journalists to work for them. But here we have a journalist actually coming up with this. He knows where the shoe pinches journalists, and I'm very sure that he will know how to handle the situation. So I say congratulations to NSTV, and I won't say the sky is the limit. Wherever the infinitum is, let